This meeting of the Essex County Board of Chosen Freeholders is hereby called to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Freeholder Bauer.
Here.
Freeholder Johnston. Absent. Freeholder Jones.
Present.
Freeholder Luciano.
Here.
Freeholder Mercado.
Here.
Freeholder Pomares.
Here.
Freeholder Sebald.
Here.
Freeholder Richardson.
Here.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Here.
Freeholder President Gill.
Here. I'm going to ask that we please stand for the salute to the flag. I'm going to ask for Freeholder Bauer to please lead us in the salute.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm going to ask that you please remain standing for a moment of silence and ask that tonight we keep the members of our neighboring county and community of Paramus based on last week's bus accident in our prayers. So please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. Thank you. I have before me certification from the clerk that this meeting is in compliance with the Open Public Meeting Act. At this point in the meeting, I'm going to ask that our District 3 Freeholder, Janine Bauer, who represents the great city of East Orange on the Freeholder Board, to offer greetings on behalf of the board. Freeholder, would you please introduce, well, why don't you kick off and then I'll take it from there.
Okay, sorry, what am I doing?
You're bringing greetings on behalf of the district.
Okay.
Freeholder Bauer.
Thank you. So we are here in the great city of East Orange, which I'm pleased and proud to represent, along with, of course, portions of the West Ward of Newark, South Orange Village, and the township of Orange. And I'm not sure whether we have elected officials from East Orange here.
We do. What I'm going to do at this point, Freeholder Bauer, is I see that we have Mayor Green's Chief of Staff, Tony Jackson, with us, and I'd like to ask our former freeholder as well. I'd like to ask Mr. Jackson to please come to the microphone and bring greetings on behalf of the mayor, and if there's any other dignitaries here from the city, to make sure that they're properly recognized.
Thank you. Good evening, President Gill and all elected officials, freeholders. You know, it's funny when let me first of all say the mayor apologized for not being here, but he's out doing the work for the people. He's out doing some things that hopefully that will bring back great to the city of East Orange. Because he talks about one city, one community, one goal, which equals progress. You guys are being a part of the community. We welcome you here today. There are some other once elected official, always elected officials. So I also want to recognize another former freeholder that's here with us tonight, as well as the former mayor of East Orange, Mr. Tom Cook. So, just really quick, yes, I did sit on this freeholder board, and I do recall when I was trying to think of what seat I sat in here, but the reality is that there's only two people in here that were, I think this was almost 20 years ago, and that's Freeholder Sebald and Frank McInerney, when I sat on the freeholder board, along with freeholder, at that time, freeholder president, Joe DiVincenzo, who's now your county executive. So we welcome you here. We're glad that you come here, that you do your business of the county. We support you all. Anything that we can do to make your visit pleasurable, please let us know. This brings back a lot of memories for me because it's been 20 years. So, and Frank, I think the budget at the time was like $500,000, something like that, right? So I'm good with numbers, you know that, right? But we just wanted to say the mayor welcomes you all. He thanks you for coming. He wishes he could have been here. And I don't think there's any other elected officials, any council. I know we have some other businesses going upstairs, but we all collectively on the council side as well as the mayor, we all welcome you here and do the business for the people. Thank you so much, President.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Jackson, thank you for being here, on behalf of the mayor. Thank you for your prior service on this board. I'm assuming when you served with Freeholder Seabold and Mr. McInerney, they were only 10 or 12 years old at the at the time. But thank you for being here. Thank you to the city for hosting us this evening. As we continue to try and bring county government to the people in any way that we can. Also, another special shout out to Mayor Cook for being here with us. A legend in many respects, and thank you for him for joining us tonight. We're honored to have you with us, Mayor. So, all the best. Appreciate it. Madam Clerk, are there any transcripts to be approved?
Mr. President, yes, there are 5. March 14th, 2018, March 28th, 2018, April 11th, 2018, April 25th, 2018, May 2nd, 2018.
Recognizing Freeholder Johnson. Freeholders, do you have any questions or comments? Freeholders, do I have a motion and a second to approve the transcripts?
Move it.
Moved by Freeholder Richardson, second by Freeholder Mercado. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones. Yes. Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Sebo.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, are there any topics of discussion?
Mr. President, there are none.
Okay. Let's move to public comment session on agenda items. Tonight's meeting is a combined conference board meeting, and we will vote on every item on the agenda. So if there's any member of the public who would like to comment on any agenda item, please come to the microphone and state your name and affiliation for the record. You will have 3 minutes to speak.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I am Cyrus. I'm a member of the New Jersey Community United Student Organizing Committee and a junior at American History High School in Newark. I lived in the West Ward of Newark for all my life, where foreclosures are rampant. Many close friends of mine moved out of Newark. Their families were sold toxic loans by banks like Wells Fargo, who foreclosed and evicted them. I'm a student organizer in Newark against charter expansion. My classmates should be fighting with me to rebuild our public school district, but their education was disrupted by foreclosure in the middle of the school year. Corporations are closing our schools and displacing our families. You must enforce the Essex County Responsible Banking Ordinance. You must be present when banks give presentations. Trust me, I'm a high school student. I do not get any credits for work if I'm absent. If you don't do your job, why should my parents or any other voting adult in Essex County trust you to protect our communities? If you do not stand with us, you're risking losing the hearts and the minds of the next generation of urban leaders. The best way to stand with us is to divest our public money from banks like Wells Fargo. Let me make this extra real for you. Wells Fargo, the same bank displacing my community, gave the NRA a $28 million loan and gave $400 million to gun makers after the Sandy Hook massacre, which we all know 26 kindergartens died that day. I spend 5 days per week in a school building. I'm a young black man living in Newark, a city that has been plagued by high levels of gun crime. I personally know students my age who have been shot dead in the streets of Newark in cold blood. I was even mugged by a young man in broad daylight who threatened to shoot me, who threatened me with a gun, my life, if I did not hand over my wallet and phone. But now when I think back to that instance, I wonder if this young man felt so desperate to rob me because his family was struggling to stay in their home, which is common in North. The board has expressed concern for gun violence in the past, and I appreciate that sentiment, but it needs to be backed by concrete action. If not, it seems to me that the blood of the children of Essex County could be on your hands.
30 seconds.
It's pretty simple. Wells Fargo partners with the industry that makes guns. Then they fund the political groups that make it easier for guns to get on our streets. If you do not use your power to divest our public funds from banks like Wells Fargo, then you are an accomplice in their crimes against our communities and the mass murder of our children. Do your job and enforce the responsible banking ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you. If there's any member of the public who would like to comment on any agenda item, please come to the microphone and state your name and affiliation for the record, and you will have 3 minutes to speak.
All right. Good evening. I am Halashan Sienapar. I'm a member of New Jersey Communities United and a homeowner in the South Ward of Newark. As an active NJCU member, I have knocked on many doors in my community and listened to the concerns of my neighbors. I've heard about firsthand accounts about predatory lending activities by banks like Wells Fargo and their aggressive foreclosure actions against long-term residents. Frequently, these conversations include concerns about displacement and the role that toxic mortgages and foreclosures have played to set the stage for me and my neighbors to be displaced. And now it's not just me having conversations with neighbors. My neighbors are having conversations with each other, and we are organizing. When I last spoke before the freeholders, I shared the details of stories I heard in my community. I talked about the vacant homes where there once were neighbors, which now house rodents, trash, and crime. I talked about the fires and the burnt-out buildings that are bank-owned. Your response at the time was positive. You said you would support a public bank and revisit your efforts to get banks in front of the public to answer hard questions. I'd like an update on those items, but I would also like to emphasize that we need you to do everything in your power to take a stand with the Essex County community against unchecked bank power. I appeared then and again tonight to underscore the crisis that we're facing, not just in my community, but in communities like mine all across Essex County, and to understand the demand from my neighbors and from my fellow NJ Communities United members that you enforce the Essex County Responsible Banking Ordinance. In order to enforce this ordinance, this also requires each of you to attend when the banks deliver their presentations about what they have done to our neighborhoods. I'm sure I'm not the only person you have heard from about this crisis. You all have families, friends, and roots in Essex County. So I'm asking, no, I'm demanding that the Board of Freeholders stand with the people of Essex County, your constituents, against the racist practice of targeting communities of color with predatory and toxic loans, with illegal foreclosures, and opening fake accounts under our names. Take a bold step to defend them by doing the thing that only you as freeholders have the power to do. Divest our public money from banks like Wells Fargo, who have not only disregarded your authority as freeholders by ignoring your ordinance, but who have disrespected your families, your communities, and the place you call home. I'm here because you need to act with greater urgency. If these first-hand accounts of what the banks haven't done to the residents in Essex County aren't moving enough, then please be moved by what he said. Cyrus, I think that was his name. Again, he spoke about Wells Fargo. It's their drive for profit that led them to invest in the industry that is manufacturing guns and funding the political groups who have made guns so easily accessible that mass school shootings are routine and commonplace. Surely you will act now to stop the funding of these crimes against our communities and the mass murder of our children. Enforce the responsible banking ordinance. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Charlotte Galla. I'm an advocate for the community cats in Essex County. Your Queen, Levy Jones, was the first one to be the first in Essex County to sponsor, to make positive changes for these community cats everywhere in Essex County. I come here before you to request these two very important goals. I want to commend you. I got all kinds of public praise that you are leaders that want to make changes in Essex County. All the cat rescuers and even other people that are from other states said, congratulations to these people that are making a change for these community cats that are suffering, dying, multiplying, and we can't go on. Now, the request that I'm asking for are just twofold, please. I was supposed to have more people, but I got the last minute request. We'll be in Irvington in August to follow up on this. One, we need funds for the various towns, cities, townships to budget for these community cats to be trapped, vaccinated, neutered, returned, and managed. They work for you. Every rat, every mouse is taken care of by them. In fact, I'll tell you a real quick story. I saw Mayor Ted Green, because I don't have too much time. And I said, what do you think about the cats? He said, I love them. I had one hussy. She was having kittens after kittens. I called this rescue group. We took care of it. Now we have enough numbers, and I guarantee you, I don't have one rat, no mouse on my street. All right, community cats. So the next one, real quick, we need a community cat food bank. Seniors are taking their money from their own budget and sacrificing to pay for the various compassionate cats that are outside that they're feeding. If we could get a place where everyone got the same, yes, they give out free cat food, but Lebby gets it, I don't get it, Pat gets it, Brendan gets it, we have like cliques. We can't do that. We have to have a bank where we have volunteers, everybody signs up, and we've got to take care of those seniors, please, and the SNAP recipients. Thank you very much. No, I wanted to congratulate you. I'm going to be back with other groups because we really care, and we know you do too, because you would have never been the first historians. I do you, clap you, and thank you. I always end with meow.
Yes, thank you, President. My name is Frederica Bay, East Orange, New Jersey, and Newark, New Jersey, Hearing of Citizens Coalition of New Jersey. Again, we just really want to thank Vice President Freeholder Wayne Richardson, Jones, is it 3 minutes? Oh, okay. And Freeholder Libby Jones for your sponsoring and co-sponsoring the Essex County Moratorium on Foreclosures, which is so sorely needed, as you all know. Now in the Senate, Senator Teresa Ruiz and Senator Neil Gill, they are sponsoring the Senate side of the Assembly bill that Assemblywoman Cleopatra Tucker and Assemblywoman Brittany Timberlake are co-sponsoring. And we thank you all for that. We just want to stress the urgency of this. I don't know if any of you have ever felt that feeling of not being able to have the solace of your home. After a day's work, if you are working, that, you know, the sheriff department has closed down, and truly, we contacted the sheriff department. They come here to our meetings. We meet here in East Orange once a month. We thank Mayor Ted Green for that. However, it is an urgency, and I just want to know if we have a date for the committee to meet to move the Essex County moratorium on foreclosures. Do we have a date? President Gill.
Vice President Richardson.
So as you and I have discussed previously, and I think I sent you the the dates that we're considering.
Yes, sir.
But nothing is in writing yet, but those are the dates. You have the dates and the preliminary times.
Yes.
And as soon as we get everyone on the same page, it'll be one of those dates. But
Does
you
that-
already have it. I sent it to you.
Yes, and I thank you so much, and I know you were traveling on business when you did, and I thank you so much. Since everyone is here tonight, you think you might be able to get a date before, or even after we
It
leave?
doesn't work like that.
It
People
doesn't
have to
work
check
like
their-
that.
People have to check their schedules, but you have the preliminary dates, and as soon as we get everyone confirmed who is going to be in attendance, we will definitely send that out, we'll make it public, and anybody who wants to attend can attend.
We just have a couple of members on our executive board that would love to attend.
Well, and we'd love to have them because we want your input, because you guys have been doing this forefront of it, so we definitely want you there, and we want your input.
Okay, could I reclaim my Maxine Waters time since the, could I do that? Here, just a few minutes.
Sure.
This is the, before that, the young man who spoke and the gentleman who spoke after him, Wells Fargo should be banned, as they're banned in New York, they're banned in Ohio. Governor Kasich banned Wells Fargo from doing business. They're banned in Florida. They're banned all over this country. And they need to be banned in the state of New Jersey. In Essex County, you have the juice and the power to do that. But this is the Legal Services of New Jersey report and recommendations to the New Jersey Supreme Court concerning false statements and swearing in foreclosure proceedings. This is November 4th, 2010. I know you have this. If you don't, you will, because I will send it to you, scan it and send it to you. This report resulted in the 2010 moratorium that the New Jersey Supreme Court ordered. The difference then and now is that we have a statewide coalition, and we have already put in place what has to happen during this 2-year moratorium, so we will never be in this position again. Thank God for you all. Thank God for Senator Ruiz and Nia Gill and Cleopatra Tucker and Brittany Timberlake, former president of this board, and that you call the banks into account. That is to your credit, and we thank you. But we will never be in this position again, and the banks need to pay us like the government of these United States took our tax dollars and bailed those big banks out about a decade ago with our tax dollar money, and then they sold our toxic mortgages all over the world and took our houses. That we call a 2018 Dred Scott decision. We have a right to property, to life, to liberty, and to pursue happiness. And we're asking you to help us with our due process of law. We thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Carolyn Bailey. I'm a resident of Newark, New Jersey, and of late I've become known as the hurting homeowner. But I'm not here tonight to share my situation as much as to provide a historical backdrop on the situation we're now in. And I have copies of my discussion to share if it's in order. I want to talk about Alberta Harris, and I'll read a portion of the numerous court cases that came about on her behalf. It will not be sufficient time to read the entire thing, but you'll get the gist of it, and the rest of it will be a part of the handouts that I have. Ms. Harris had lived in her home in Newark, New Jersey for over 30 years. She had no mortgage, owning her home free and clear. At the time of the loan origination in December 1999, Ms. Harris was 78 years old, an African American with little education or financial sophistication. She received formal schooling only until the 6th grade when she quit and began work in the cotton fields of Georgia. After moving to New Jersey, she worked in laundries and as a home health aide. Ms. Harris lived alone, housebound by illness, had no financial support other than a meager monthly sum from Social Security benefits, which barely covered her utilities, life insurance, and medical costs. Sometimes, after expenses, Ms. Harris had no money left to buy food. Ms. Harris was solicited by phone for a loan by the lending source, a mortgage broker and agent of Delta Funding. Delta Funding is closely associated with Wells Fargo's bank, so I need say no more. Ms. Harris expressed interest, but explained she could afford nothing more than $300 a month in payments. After that telemarketing call, an employee of a window installation company arrived at Ms. Harris' house and had her sign a contract for the installation of 15 windows into her home. The contract stated no price for the proposed work. Soon after she signed the home improvement contract, an agent of a third-party title company came to Ms. Harris' home at approximately 10 p.m. to have Ms. Harris sign a mortgage. And with that began her saga. Okay, she became part of a very critical New Jersey Supreme Court case. It even went to the Third Circuit Federal Court. And as a result, she ended up in foreclosure. And thank you. Is it in order to pass these out? Okay, thank you.
Again, do we have any member of the public who would like to comment on any issue? Please come to the microphone, state your name and affiliation for the record. Again, you will have 3 minutes to speak.
Good evening, members of the Board of Freeholders. Welcome to the City of East Orange. I'm happy that you decided to come in tonight for your meeting, and I hope that you will give your ears to those of us who are involved in the underwater fight for the residents of our state. We have just recently found out that the judicial people have made a decision that will benefit the underwater problem and those of us who are suffering from it by giving and making it possible for you or your attorneys to record the proceedings when a case is being heard. And we need any and everyone who has that problem with the underwater foreclosures, and the fact that we also are trying to get a rule through the courts and through the state legislature on getting a big hand and a big bit of help on the underwater problem. And what some of us act like we don't remember or know, when you are suffering from the underwater problem and big banks buy these or hold the mortgage for the underwater problem, when it goes to court and the principals involved in the underwater problem loses their property, someone else is eager to buy it and end up having it rehabbed and getting it fit to be rented out to people who does not have a home to live in. And we are then being charged with our taxes because the people who buy out the underwater people or the people who are making $3,000 or more a month on renting these homes that they have gotten through the court system. So we're paying even more than we need to be paying. So I'm here tonight to follow up on our county executive who issued much support for passing the foreclosure problem, moratorium problem that our President, Mrs. Bay, spoke about, and that I am following up on. And we need the Board of Chosen Freeholders to do what the City Council did here in our city, and what the Mayor has done here in our city, and what I am doing to support it. I am so happy to see you in the chambers where I served as City Council person, also City Council chairperson, and also as mayor of our beautiful city. And I also serve on the Board of Chosen Freeholders as the deputy director and the director. So we know that we have the power to do a lot more than we have been doing. And I'm calling on all of you who are especially and recently elected and re-elected to stand up and let's get behind this moratorium movement that we're trying to get, which will prolong the process of underwater fighting up to 2 years as opposed to doing it 5 minutes later after somebody decides to do it. So I want to welcome you once more and to thank all of you for listening, and we please hope that you will find it possible to introduce a resolution at this meeting, or as soon as you think you want to do it. But the sooner you do it, the quicker we can resolve the problem with this shortage of housing for people who cannot afford to rent and who cannot afford to buy. So I want to thank you once more for being here, and I will be available for any help and all of the help that I can provide to you to help get this problem done. Thank you again.
Thank you, Mayor. And again, as a former freeholder and as a mayor, we're honored to have you. And I will say thank you, and thank you, Ms. Bay, for holding our feet to the fire. And we look forward to this committee meeting. I know Vice President, and we're working hard to get that scheduled. And I think we're as anxious as you are to get that scheduled so we can move forward, I think, with what I think is the will of the board to try to take additional action. So, but thank you for being here tonight and continuing to join us and to hold us accountable, and for your leadership on this issue, and especially in light of what had just happened yesterday in Washington, with the passage of a bill which, in my opinion, will probably set us back if it is signed by the president. So, so thank you. Is there any other additional member of the public who would like to comment on any issue? Please come to the microphone, state your name and affiliation for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. Okay, Madam Clerk, let the record reflect that there is no one wishing to speak at this time. Madam Clerk, do we have any ordinances or resolutions for introduction and first reading?
Mr. President, we have none.
Okay. Do we have any ordinances or resolutions for listing purposes only?
Mr. President, we have none.
Okay. Madam Clerk, do we have any ordinance or resolutions on second reading and public hearing tonight?
Mr. President, we have none.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Then let's move to resolution number 1.
Resolution 1, Department of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs contract with Hudson Community Enterprises to provide janitorial services and flooring maintenance at Turtleback Zoo from the date of award through October 31st, 2018, amount not to exceed $81,870.
Okay, Mr. Jackson, can you please explain the resolution?
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board. This is a contract with Hudson Community Enterprises that we've seen before, which is a shelter workshop, and Mr. Zaitz is here to explain. Oh, there it is.
As the administrator stated, this is a contract for janitorial services with Hudson Community Enterprises, and we do have a representative from the company here.
Good evening. My name is Joe Brown, and I'm the president of Hudson Community Enterprises. Certainly, we're providing janitorial service maintenance at Turtleback Zoo. We are a private nonprofit agency that serves people with disabilities. Our primary mission is to employ people with disabilities, so we run businesses that employ people with disabilities. Our goal is to have approximately 75% people with disabilities on our payroll. And I'm happy to report that we're successful, and I'm also very grateful for the support that the freeholders have given us in other contracts that we hold with the county.
Thank you. Mr. Parlavecchio.
No questions.
Mr. McInerney.
No questions.
Freeholders, do you have any questions or comments? Okay. Seeing none, freeholders, do I have a motion and a second? Moved by Freeholder Seabold. Second by Freeholder Johnson. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Seabold. Yes. Freeholder Vice President Richardson. Yes. Freeholder Pomares. Yes. Freeholder Mercado. Yes. Freeholder Luciano. Yes. Freeholder Jones. Yes. Freeholder Johnson. Yes. Freeholder Bauer. Yes. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you. Okay, so moved. Moving to resolution number 2. Can you please read it, Madam Clerk?
Resolution to Department of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs contract award to Simcoe Refrigeration to provide preventative maintenance of ice rink refrigeration equipment at Cody Arena, 24-month contract, amount not to exceed $515,223.80.
You're up.
Joshua Zates, County Parks. This is for maintenance of the refrigeration system over at Cody Arena, and we do have a representative from the company here to speak for you.
Carl Walton, Simcoe Refrigeration. Do the freeholders have any questions in regard to the contract?
Why don't you tell us a little more about the contract?
The contract is for a 20-month service agreement for Cody Arena for both ice rink services, where we will provide one mechanic 2 days a month, and then an annual service on both ice rink packages that will take 5 days. Simcoe Refrigeration is out of Mobile, Alabama. We've been around for about 105 years. We employ 105 people. We have greater than 10% minorities. We are a non-union shop. Yes, we do have prevailing wage, if so be it. And I'm trying to remember the last question. I'm sorry. Is there any other questions?
Mr. Parlavecchio.
Just a question. Are you the current vendor on this, for this service? Are you the current vendor for this service at the Cody Arena?
I'm sorry.
Do you currently have this contract at the arena?
Joshua Zates, County Parks. They did previously. The services actually expired in July of 17, and we've been negotiating since then, and we're now bringing it to the board.
Mr. McInerney?
Just how much was expended on this last year?
Joshua Zates, County Parks. It was $208,546.
Yeah, two.
You need a mic. You need a microphone. Oh.
No, I understand that. Okay.
Yeah, and Joshua Zates, County Parks. One of the rinks was down during that time frame. Now they're both up.
Freeholders, any questions or comments? Freeholder Jones.
We have over, in our northeast area, 15 service technicians.
I thought red was all. Okay. So I'm looking at over $500,000 for just one arena. You couldn't find something a little cheaper?
The contract that was written, I believe, was for the 20-month agreement, I believe for $100,000, in which we would provide services for that 20-month agreement until it comes back up at the end of that 20-month period before renewal again.
I just see, well, as I said, it's a business and you're working, but I just see it, in my opinion, is that that's quite a lot of money for one building. I could have seen if they took care of all of the parks building that requires refrigeration, but just for the Cody Arena, that's a lot. But I'm assuming we went out to bid and that was the best that we got. So, but I still can't support it.
Joshua Zaid, Essex County Parks. Please keep in mind, we did go out to bid for this contract. We bid it once. We had no response. We bid it twice. It was rejected, and then we started the negotiation process after that.
I see.
Mr. Parlavecchia?
I just was going to say what Josh said, that after the two unsuccessful advertisements for the bids, they're then permitted by public contracts law to negotiate the contract. And as a result, passage would require 2/3 affirmative vote of the board.
After two attempts?
Yeah, it was put out twice. Once, I don't know, did you get any bids the first time? The second time, I think there was a rejection.
Julius Colgi, Purchasing Director. We put it out twice. The first time we received no responses. The second time, this particular vendor submitted but had rejected on paperwork, and at that particular time we negotiated the contract.
Vice President Richardson?
Yeah, I just have one question. Do you employ any Essex County residents?
No, sir, we do not.
Any thought about picking some up at some point?
If that person has the right qualifications, that is always something that is a doable thing.
And how long have you had this contract?
Joshua Zaid, Essex County Parks. It was at least 2 years. I'm not sure prior to that what it was.
Companies located in Connecticut?
Head office is Mobile, Alabama.
Head office in Mobile, Alabama.
Yeah.
Okay. Freeholders, additional questions or comments?
I'd like to flesh out a little bit. Your company's headquartered in Mobile, Alabama. I'm sure they have needs for refrigeration there and ice skating rinks and so forth. But where is your office, presumably in New Jersey, or at least the tri-state region, from which the 15 employees who are not Essex County residents service the Cody Arena?
Everybody, we all live within different states in the Northeast, and we are dispatched from our Alabama office, and we come out of our homes to different facilities.
Okay, so there's not a particular team of these 15 employees. One might live in Easton, and one might live in Staten Island, and one might live in Somerset County, New Jersey. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yes.
And has there been any turnover during that period of time in which the company had, CEOs and employment folks out of Mobile could have determined that there was somebody from Essex County that could be employed by your company?
Again, we always were very proactive in hiring new technicians, of which we blanket social media with that, and we get resumes from all over the world, all over the United States.
And what kind of certification or education is required to be the technician that you're looking for?
It would be a master's refrigeration license and the qualifications thereof, whether it be through one of the other organizations, either RITA or IIAR or something like that. And they've been to technical college to get their full one-year certification.
Okay, I feel very confident that Essex County probably has that refrigeration training and probably produces qualified technicians. So I don't know how this vote is going to go, but I would encourage you to encourage your company to not just use social media, but maybe the Newark Star Ledger and connect with whatever the schools are here that produce those qualified technicians, so that in the future you can say, yes, we do employ one person or two persons, something like that, because we're very proud of Cody Arena and we like to keep the ice nice and everything else. So, if you're the chosen company because of the bid situation, then it would be wonderful to have you be able to report that.
I'll definitely let the heads of state know.
Agree 100%, Freeholder. Freeholders. We have a motion and a second. Moved by Freeholder Siebel. Second?
I'll second.
Second by Freeholder Bauer. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
No.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
President, not woman.
Freeholder Siebel. Yes. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, Madam Clerk, moving to resolution number 3.
Resolution 3, Department of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs, contract award to McRoberts Sales Company, the sole responsive and responsible bidder to furnish and deliver frozen fish and invertebrates for Turtleback Zoo from the date of award through December 31st, 2018, amount not to exceed $75,000.
Zaitz.
Joshua Zaitz, Essex County Parks. Number 3 and number 4 are similar in that they both deal with the delivery of frozen fish and vertebrates to the Turtleback Zoo, and we do have our zoo director, Mike Kerr, here to answer any questions you may have.
Good evening, Mr. President and the board. This is just providing food for mainly our fish-eating mammals and our new flamingos and our penguins.
Okay. Mr. Palavecchio.
No questions.
Mr. McInerney.
No questions.
Freeholders. Freeholder Johnson.
Through you, Mr. President, why is it in two different resolutions?
So the first one, there were species of fish that weren't bid on through the first bid, so we had to issue a second bid.
What kind of fish are you feeding?
There's like, I can't even tell you how many species. There's a whole list of, they're not for human consumption, so weird fish like capelin and we do some mackerel, krill, stuff like that.
I just, from looking like we're looking at the same resolution twice, it seemed kind of funny that when it should have all been packaged into one, really. Thank you, Mr. President.
Yep. Any further response?
So, Joshua Zaitz, Essex County Parks. So I'm looking through the two different resolutions. And number 3, there's anchovies, blue runner, bluefish, bonito, butterfish, clams, crawfish, croaker, I could go on. And then in the resolution number 4, there's smelt, squid, tilapia, capellina, herring. So they are different. Unfortunately, there are no lobster or crab legs on there, so I will not be partaking.
Thank you. Freeholders, additional questions or comments? We'll move over in a second. Moved by Freeholder Siebold, second by Freeholder Mercado. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Siebold. Yes. Freeholder Vice President Richardson. Yes. Freeholder Pomares. Yes. Freeholder Mercado. Yes. Freeholder Luciano. Yes. Freeholder Jones. Yes. Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Bauer. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We'll move to resolution number 4. We'll read it into the record at a later time since we just addressed it. Anything additional on resolution number 4?
Joshua Zates, Essex County Parks. No additional on our end, but certainly we'll try to answer any questions.
Thank you. Ms. Parlavecchio?
No, nothing to add. It just sounds like they put together the bid specs for one and then had to add additional fish, and that's the second. That's resolution number 4.
Mr. McInerney? Freeholders? Questions or comments? Okay. Do I have a mover and a second on resolution number 4? Moved by Freeholder Siebold, second by Freeholder Palmaris. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Bauer. Yes. Freeholder Johnson. Yes. Freeholder Jones. Freeholder Luciano. Yes. Freeholder Mercado. Yes. Freeholder Pomares. Yes. Freeholder Vice President Richardson. Yes. Freeholder Siebold. Yes. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We'll now take resolutions 5, 6, and 7, which are all related, correct?
Joshua Zates, Essex County Parks. That is correct.
Thank you. So, Madam Clerk, can we read resolutions 5, 6, and 7, please?
Okay. Resolution 5. Department of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs, resolution approving a matching grant agreement with Brookdale Park Conservancy to fund Brookdale Park improvements, amount not to exceed $250,000. Resolution 6. Department of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs, authorization to use the Essex County Recreation Open Space Trust Fund to fund and match to the Brookdale Park Conservancy Green Acres Grant for the Brookdale Park Welcome Center and bathroom improvements in the amount not to exceed $250,000. Resolution 7, 2018 County Budget insertion of items of revenue from the Department of Environmental Protection, Office of the Commissioner, and the cash match from the Trust Fund for Green Acres, Brookdale Park Conservancy, Department of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs is $500,000.
Thank you.
Joshua Zates, Essex County Parks. Through you, Mr. President, as you mentioned, 5, 6, and 7 are related. It's a little bit of a housekeeping item. If the board can get in their time machines and go back to the March 28th meeting, the board authorized the ZN Construction to do the Brookdale Park Welcome Center and Bathroom Improvement Project. At the time, the funds were taken out of capital, and the county, through its nonprofit partner, the Brookdale Park Conservancy, had received a $250,000 Green Acres grant. At the time, we had not gone to the Open Space Board to request that match. We have now done that. So therefore, we are requesting the $250 be inserted from Green Acres, the $250 match from Open Space, which would give you $500,000. So therefore, the improvement project over at Brookdale, it was a $930,000 contract. So $250 would be Green Acres, $250 would be Open Space, and then the balance of $430 would be capital.
Mr. Parlavecchio?
I don't have questions. I'll defer to Mr. McInerney.
So in effect, we're inserting money to pay back to capital because it was all paid originally by capital?
Correct.
Okay. So the only amount that was left, will be left to charge to capital is the 400 and whatever odd amount that was?
Through you, Mr. President, that is correct.
Okay.
Freeholders? Questions or comments? Do I have a mover and a second? Moved by Freeholder Siebold. Second by Freeholder Palmaris. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Siebold. Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Palmares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones. Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Bauer. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolution number 8 and 9. Can you read both into the record at this time?
Resolution 8, Department of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs, authorization to use the Essex County Recreation and Open Space Trust Fund to fund Weequahic Park playground improvements in the amount not to exceed $872,018. Resolution 9, Department of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs, Department of Public Works, contract award to, I'm going to spell this name, TSIVICOS Enterprises, the lowest responsive and responsible bidder for Weequahic Park Playground and Building Improvements, 120-day contract, amount not to exceed $1,472,017.50.
Thank you.
Joshua Zates, Essex County Parks. Through you, Mr. President, as you mentioned, number 8 and 9 are related. Number 8 is the funds from open space for $872,018. And then the balance of those funds would be from capital, and that would equal the $1,472,017.50 for the project. So the board knows the project will include building improvements, interior improvements, roof repairs, installation of rubber playground surface, asphalt pathways, concrete pavement, some rubberized stamping, water spray equipment, and some miscellaneous landscaping. And so just so the board can picture it, this is for the playground over on the Elizabeth Avenue side of the park, and we do have the contractor here if you have any questions.
Good evening, freeholders. My name is Haralambos Tsivikos. I'm the CEO of Tsivikos Enterprises. To give you a brief synopsis of the scope of the project, in addition to what was just said, it's going to be a complete renovation of the park, new playground equipment, a new splash pad, new rubber surfacing, epoxy flooring inside the building, miscellaneous utility work and site work, some asphalt paths, stamped concrete. Our company was founded in 1989. We specialize in government and commercial construction, primarily in the public works sector. We are prevailing wage, primarily. I am a union carpenter with 253, the Carpentry Union. I'm a graduate of Rutgers University School of Engineering, and I grew up in the state of New Jersey. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Thank you. Mr. Parlavecchio.
I don't have any questions.
Mr. McInerney.
The 600,000, Josh, is coming from, is that the various parks improvements out of capital?
Joshua Zates, Essex County Parks. Yes, it is.
Freeholders. Vice President Richardson.
Yeah, so are you a union outfit?
No, my company is prevailing wage. We're not a union
So
outfit.
you're a non-union outfit, but you wanted to talk about how you're a union carpenter, but you hire a non-union.
Well, if we do carpentry, we go job to job with the carpentry union, but at the moment, we're a non-union house. It's difficult as a GC, and we don't do much carpentry work. But I maintain my membership in the union. Most of the work we do is specialty engineering, coatings, rubber surfacing, playgrounds, things like that. We don't really do much carpentry.
So do you have any Essex County residents that you employ?
We restaff job to job. The intention is to try to bring on some Essex County employees, but definitely subcontractors will be expected on this project that are Essex County.
Did you fill out the aspirational goal form?
I was not given an aspirational goal form.
So he's not aware of that? So shouldn't he have gotten that?
Oh, yes, actually, as part of the bid, yes.
So you filled it out?
Yes.
So you're going to be reaching out, trying to get some Essex County residents?
100%. It was stressed to me from the beginning. We've done another project with Essex County. It's very important to me to hire people from the community. And we've done so in the past with other projects as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Freeholder.
Freeholder Siebel.
Okay. Number 8 through 15 were all discussed on May 16th at the Essex County Open Space Trust Fund Advisory Board meeting, and we reviewed each one, and I believe that your packet has all the information pertaining to them, and we were very pleased that all this work was going to be done. Thank you.
Thank you, Freeholder. Vice President Richardson asked this question. So the aspirational form, I don't see it attached, but it was in our backup documentation.
Julius Coltry, Purchasing Director. On every contract that we send out, we send all the aspirational goals. They're always attached. Even in your resolution packet, we sent them up to the administration office and sent over to the Freeholder clerk.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Freeholders, additional questions or comments? Do I have a motion? Moved by Freeholder Siebel. Second by Vice President Richardson. Roll call, Madam Clerk. This is Resolution 8 and 9.
Freeholder Bauer. Yes. Freeholder Johnson. Yes. Freeholder Jones. Yes. Freeholder Luciano. Yes. Freeholder Mercado. Yes. Freeholder Pomares. Yes. Freeholder Vice President Richardson. Yes. Freeholder Sebo. Yes. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolutions number 10 and 11, please.
Resolution 10, Department of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs, authorization to use the Essex County Recreation and Open Space Trust Fund to fund Branchbrook Park and Yantakah Park field improvements in the amount not to exceed $200,000. Resolution 11, Department of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs, Department of Public Works, contract award to Land Tech Group, the lowest responsive and responsible bidder to provide Branchbrook Park and Yantakah Park ball field improvements, 90-day contract, amount not to exceed $1,498,945.
Joshua Zates, Essex County Parks. Through you, Mr. President, numbers 10 and 11 are related, as you mentioned. Number 10 is the approval of $200,000 from the Open Space Trust Fund, which would help fund number 11, which is a contract with Land Tech for Branchbrook Park and Yantakah Borough Fields in the amount of $1,498,945. Just to give the board some perspective, the baseball field in Branchbrook that will be renovated is located in the Adebato complex, and over in Yantakah we are going to be renovating the softball field. And we do have the contractor here if you have any questions.
David Livingston from the Land Tech Group. Thank you, freeholders, for the opportunity to consider our proposal. The Land Tech Group has been in business since 1979. Our focus is the installation of synthetic turf from Connecticut to South Carolina. We have installed over 25 fields for Essex County over the past 13 years. We are affiliated with local 825 operators and local 175 laborers from New York. I currently have 20% of my labor force in New Jersey, Essex County residents. I hope to actually increase that number if this job is awarded to us, because we are looking to hire some new employees for that project. This project is to turn 2 natural grass fields at the middle division at Branchbrook Park to synthetic turf. The project includes new fencing, dugouts, new scoreboard, some benches, a concrete plaza area, drainage. There's replacement to some bulbs in the light towers. There's a new flagpole, bleachers, foul poles, bases.
And over at Yantakal Park, we are taking out the existing clay infield over there and turning that over to synthetic turf.
Thank you, Mr. Palavecchio.
No questions.
Mr. McInerney. No questions. Freeholders. Vice President Richardson.
Yeah, you say you employ 20% Essex County residents?
Yes, freeholder.
Pardon me?
Yes, freeholder.
And so how many employees do you have?
Well, currently, I have 10 employees working in New Jersey, and I have 2 Essex County residents, but I am going to be expanding. When this job comes on, I need more employees, and I have already taken I have about 5 applications. 2 of them are from Essex County.
Outstanding. 2 is better than none.
Well, that would be 4 total in New Jersey if I hire those 2.
4 would be better than 0.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Freeholders. Freeholder.
When do you anticipate this project to begin? For the baseball, for the Outer Bottle Complex fields?
Joshua Zates, Essex County Parks. I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question. You're asking where the location is?
Anticipated date to...
But it's I believe it's a 90-day contract, so what's 3 months from now? What's that, August?
In conversations that I've had, Dave Livingston from Atlantic Group, they want to wait to start until the Little League season is over, which generally happens in the middle of June. And then we're going to start as soon as they're finished.
That's why my question was. Okay, thank you.
Vice President Richardson.
To you, Mr. President. So I just have one question. The aspirational goal in your packet, it wasn't filled out. Is there any particular reason why you didn't fill it out?
Dave Livingston from Atlantic. I do not do that. My office does that. I'm a project manager in the field. I do not do the estimating or fill out the bids. So I do not have that answer, sorry.
So I'd like the administration, if we could find out exactly why they did not fill it out, even though they have Essex County residents employed. Thank you.
Freeholders. Do you have a motion? Moved by Freeholder Siebel, second by Freeholder Mercado. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Siebel. Yes. Freeholder Vice President Richardson. Yes. Freeholder Pomares. Yes. Freeholder Mercado. Yes. Freeholder Luciano. Yes. Freeholder Jones. Yes. Freeholder Johnson. Yes. Freeholder Bauer. Yes. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes. Okay, moving to resolutions 12 and 13. Please read it to the record, Madam Clerk.
Resolution 12, Department of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs, authorization to use the Essex County Recreation and Open Space Trust Fund to fund design services for new parking deck at Turtleback Zoo in an amount not to exceed $498,725. Resolution 13, Department of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs, Department of Public Works Professional Services Agreement to provide architectural engineering design services for a new parking deck at Turtleback Zoo, Comito Associates, amount not to exceed $498,725.
Joshua Zates, Essex County Parks. Through you, Mr. President, as mentioned, numbers 12 and 13 are related. 12 is the funding source from open space, which would fund number 13, which is the new, the design of the new parking deck over at the zoo. And we do have a representative here from the company if you have any questions.
Hello, good evening. I'm Greg Comito, president of Comito. I'm sorry. Thank you. My name is Greg Comito. I'm the president of Comito Associates. I'm an architect. We have an architecture and engineering office in Newark, New Jersey, where we've been for 25 plus years. I have an office of 11, 6 of which are Essex County residents, including myself. I've been an Essex County resident for 35 plus years. We do design work all over the country, but we
we're a Newark-based design firm. 80% of our work is in Essex County. We're fortunate enough to have done quite a bit of work for Essex County Parks and Department of Public Works. We've designed buildings you may know or aware of. Boathouse Restaurant we did, the Giraffe Building we did in the zoo, the Savannah Cafe, another restaurant inside the zoo. We did some work at the courthouse. So it's pretty much our legacy. This project in particular is a new deck, a third deck for the zoo. It's probably going to be 500-ish cars, but it's also going to involve some maintenance and operations facilities for the zoo itself, which will be located in the building the way we see it now, and also some work for the train. That train ride is going to be redesigned in a certain fashion to accommodate the deck, because it's a very tricky and complex situation where this deck needs to go. So that's going to be part of it. A new train house. I don't know if you've ridden the train yourselves or with your kids or little ones, but it actually goes through this train house sort of tunnel, but it's also a maintenance shop. So we need to rebuild that. And that's kind of the scope for what we're looking at here. It's a complicated project. It's all been phased. The railroad portion initially, and the deck building portion secondarily. And with that, there's some other traffic issues that we have to work out, and some on-site transportation and logistics around the property. Any questions I can answer about myself or the project that I know at this time?
Colonel Vecchio?
Yeah, just to clarify, so the new garage will be located where, in the area where the existing train is?
Yes.
On that part of the zoo?
Right, so it's going to be on the zoo grounds proper, like in the fence, let's say, but where the train runs now, a portion of that is where this needs to go, yeah.
Okay, is there any new paving that has to be done to come, I guess, from the road into where this parking facility will be?
It does. We plan to expand. The roadway adjacent to the park, or adjacent to the reservation. So instead of 2 lanes, it'll be 3, 2 exiting and 1 coming in. So that next to, if you're familiar with where the sheriff satellite is now, that area over there is going to be expanded.
To 3 lanes.
To 3 lanes, and that intersection that would be improved with new signalization. Or modified signalization, I should say. So that's part of it.
And how many decks would there be? How many
How many
stories?
levels? I'm going to limit it to the height of the second deck, higher than that. Decks are unruly contraptions. They're hard to disguise, they're hard to hide, you can't hide them. So the creativity will be what we can do to sort of make it blend in or make something out of it other than a box with cars in it. So, especially in that sense, you're going to see it from the reservation. I've got a lot of pressure on with this one. I got to figure out.
Right. Thank you. Thanks, Greg.
Mr. McInerney?
This isn't a financial question, but that's the question I had. If you're on the other side of the reservoir, you're going to be able to see this if you look across the reservoir.
There's no way to hide this. I mean, there's trees, there's an existing buffer that we're not touching, of course, and we're going to replant it. I can't hide it now.
Freeholders. Vice President, Freeholder Siebold.
Greg Camato does beautiful work for Essex County, and he's done a lot of work in the Turtleback Zoo area. With all of the people coming to Turtleback Zoo, we just don't have enough parking for all the cars, for all the people who are attending. And if you go past the zoo at a certain time of the day, there are people walking all over Northfield Road attempting to get to the zoo because there just isn't enough parking. And we discussed this at the Open Space Trust Fund meeting, and I fully understand that the train is going to be affected, but there will be a I don't know what to call it, a reorganization of where it travels at a certain point, and it will work out well, and I'm confident that in the end we will have a great addition to Turtleback Zoo. And I know it will be, am I correct, Greg, if you're facing the entrance, it's to the right back,
If you're facing,
the entrance to Turtleback Zoo.
yes, if you're Northfield Avenue, facing Turtleback Zoo, if you're on the right side.
Right, back. That's what we
So
were
it
told.
will start, there's a utility fence back there where the service yard is now. If anybody's
Right,
familiar.
yeah.
There's a service yard back there. So it's going where the service yard is now. Which
Yeah,
is,
that's
well,
what
the
was
service
explained
yard
to
is
us.
by definition is in there.
Yeah.
So that's the location.
I think that's going to be a really good location for it.
Yeah, I think it's where it needs to be, you know.
Right.
It's just, there's only so much property I have to work with, and if I can hire it, put it underground, make it invisible, I would, but trust me, we'll do something with it that'll be.
Well, I'm sure you will do a great job. Thank you.
Fielder Bauer, did you have a?
You know, I guess my question is, and this is perhaps a transportation planning question, and perhaps that's not your bailiwick, but so we know that the zoo continues to be ever more popular. So when we provide more parking capacity, it will get filled up, and then what? I mean, deck number 4, deck number 5, because you know when I think of the right-hand side all the way in the back, I think of where I've seen the giraffes, and the train is essentially a perimeter. So, you know, I trust that you're fitting it somewhere in there. I just because I can't visualize it doesn't mean anything. But I'm just thinking that really we have to think in the future, post this deck, about you know, ferrying folks from a remote location because, you know, you're out of room. Yeah, you're nodding. Just pointing out.
Joshua Zates, Essex County Parks. Through you, Mr. President, that is unfortunately the case, but just to give you a little operational insight. So currently with the 2 decks, when they are filled, we have off-site parking over on Cherry Lane. It is our hope that this new deck will do away with the excess parking over at Cherry Lane, and all those cars would hopefully park in this new deck. And then on Memorial Day or Labor Day, when the zoo's, you know, crazy busy, for lack of a better term, then we would still have the Cherry Lane parking to deal with that.
Do I have a motion? Moved by Freeholder Siebold, second by Freeholder Luciano. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Bauer. Yes. Freeholder Johnson. Yes. Freeholder Jones. Yes. Freeholder Luciano. Yes. Freeholder Mercado. Yes. Freeholder Pomares. Yes. Freeholder Vice President Richardson. Yes. Freeholder Siebold. Yes. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolutions 14 and 15. Can you please read them into the record at this time?
Resolution 14, Department of Parks, Recreation, and Culture Affairs, authorization to use the Essex County Recreation and Open Space Trust Fund to fund design services for New Branchbrook Park Dog Park in the amount not to exceed $42,700. Resolution 15, Department of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs, Department of Public Works, Professional Services Agreement to provide engineering design services for the new dog park at the Branchbrook Park, McDonald, amount not to exceed $42,700.
Joshua Zates, Essex County Parks. Through you, Mr. President, as mentioned, 14 and 15 are related. 14 is the request from Open Space for $42,700, which would fund the design services for a new dog park to be located at Branchbrook Park, which is number 15. As mentioned, these are for the design of it. We are still trying to lock in an exact area for the dog park, but our plan right now is for it to be over on Davenport Avenue in the northern division of the park, kind of over by the light rail station. And the scope of work will include, it'll be approximately 200 by 200 feet. There'll be fencing, water fountains, dog accessories, benches, garbage cans, signage, gated entrance, storage shed, doggy bag receptacles, and some tree trimming.
Mr. Parlavecchio?
No questions.
Mr. McInerney?
No questions.
Freeholders? Freeholder Siebold?
Through you, Madam President, Mr. President. I just want to tell Freeholder Bobby Mercado he's a real lucky guy. I had to wait 5.5 years. He got his literally 5 months into his first term.
But let me put on
I'm sorry,
record.
I'm sorry, Freeholder. Just point of personal privilege here. The microphones, when we're speaking, you have to hit, in order to speak, you have to cut yourself off, turn the red light on when you're speaking into the microphone. Thank you.
Sorry about that. But again, I look forward to this. I think that they're great recreational facilities, and I think they're great places for people to meet that have a lot of things in common, and that is dogs. So I'm happy to support this. And just for the record, Josh, where exactly in Branch Brook Park are we talking?
Joshua is 8 Sussex County Parks. Through you, Mr. President. So this is just the design of it. So when they go out and design the scope, they'll give us the exact location. But our thinking is over in the Northern Division on near Davenport Avenue by the light rail station.
Freeholders.
Through you, Mr. President. I'm delighted that we're going to get our dog park as soon as we have approved it. By the Davenport station there, there's some open space there. I can see where it's there. Are they going to take trees? The area trees going to be affected by that?
Joshua is 8 Sussex County Parks. Through you, Mr. President. I cannot speak on that now. When they get into it and start the design work, they'll come back to us and say what trees need to go or stay or what have you.
Thank you.
Freeholders? I have a mover. Moved by Freeholder Mercado, second by Freeholder Siebold. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Siebold. Yes. Freeholder Vice President Richardson. Yes. Freeholder.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolution number 16, Madam Clerk.
Resolution 16, Department of Public Works, Division of Engineering, approval of the 2018 Annual Transportation Program.
Mr. Jackson.
Mr. President, this is approval of as our clerk said, the annual transportation program, and our director, Mr. Varghese, is here to answer your questions.
Good evening, Sanjeev Varghese, County Engineer. This is our annual allocation for the transportation program we have. We came before the board for the insertion of revenue and the application itself. This is the final part of it, the agreement to authorize the county exec to sign the agreement. This is the funds we use for paving roads and the bridges and the culverts and striping roads and guide rails, all kinds of stuff. We get approximately $9.5 million this year. At least it was doubled from last year because of the trust fund. This is the final agreement for signature.
Mr. Parlavecchio.
Sanjeev, this is reimbursement to the county for money we've already expended on the project, or is it for future projects?
This, once we sign the agreement, they give us 75% in advance. Then we use that money and as we progress, we get reimbursement.
Mr. McInerney. Freeholders. Freeholder Bauer.
Thank you, Mr. County Engineer. Are these funds a mixture of state funding and federal funding, or does this not include federal funding?
This is all the Transportation Trust Fund, ATF, which we just approved last year, all state DOT funds.
Okay. Thank you. I just have one suggestion, and that is I would like to have seen the capital program, and maybe it could be uploaded so that in the future when something like this comes up, there's a link so that we can, run through the projects and see what they are. It seems like it might be a pretty doable thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Freeholders. Do I have a motion? Moved by Vice President Richardson, second by Freeholder Bauer. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Bauer. Yes. Freeholder Johnson. Yes. Freeholder Jones. Yes. Freeholder Luciano. Yes. Freeholder Mercado. Yes. Freeholder Pomares. Yes. Freeholder Vice President Richardson. Yes. Freeholder Siebel. Yes. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolution number 17.
Resolution 17, Department of Public Works, Division of Fleet Management, approval of contract extension with A. Limbro Car and Truck Collision, East Region, and Del Falco Instant Towing, West Region, to provide collision repair services for Essex County fleet vehicles for the period of May 22nd, 2018 through July 22nd, 2018, amount not to exceed $45,000.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson.
Mr. President, this is an extension of the existing contract for 2 additional months. A. Lembo is the current vendor, and DeFalco, who is a WB, is the West vendor. I like to say to the board, though, in this coming Tuesday's paper, you will see our first set aside for collision. That's why we have an extension. We were looking for vendors to be WBs and minority vendors along with veterans. So in Tuesday's paper, you will see an advertisement for a first set aside program.
Thank you, Mr. Parlavecchio.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Coulter, is this $45,000 total?
Yes, not to exceed.
Okay, but for both vendors?
Yes.
For that 2-month period. Thank you.
Mr. McInerney. Freeholders. Freeholder Bauer.
Through you, Mr. President, I have a question. Forgive my ignorance, but is the county insured or self-insured? In other words, why is this a deductible, or how does it work?
I'm just double checking. We're self-insured for these.
Freeholders, questions or comments? Do we have a motion? Moved by Freeholder Mercado. Second by Freeholder Pomares. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Siebel. Yes. Freeholder Vice President Richardson. Yes. Freeholder Pomares. Yes. Freeholder Mercado. Yes. Freeholder Luciano. Yes. Freeholder Jones. Yes. Freeholder Johnson. Yes. Freeholder Bauer. Yes. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Moving to resolution number 18.
Resolution 18, Department of Public Works, Division of Road and Bridges, contract award to Signal Control Products, the sole responsive and responsible bidder to furnish and deliver traffic signal materials, 2-year agreement, amount not to exceed $350,000.
Good evening, Sanjeev Varghese, County Engineer. This is for a contract to buy traffic control equipment for traffic lights. We have approximately 650 traffic lights throughout the county, and we constantly are upgrading all these traffic lights. And on a typical year, we spend approximately $100 to $125,000 worth of traffic control equipment. We buy and we use our own forces to install them. Currently, we are using other co-ops and state contracts to buy these. And this time we are going to have our own contracts. Certain items which we need are not in those contracts. That's why we are having our own contract. And I have a representative from the supplier is here. This is going on. If you have any questions, we'll be able to answer you.
Good evening. My name is John Bolt, and I'm the Vice President of Signal Control Products, which is a family-owned and operated business located in Branchburg Township in Somerset County. We are a supplier of traffic signal control equipment and have been in business for since 1975. I am here because my company has been on a 2-year contract to deliver traffic signal replacement carts to the Department of Public Works on an as-needed basis. We have successfully completed similarly sized contracts for Essex County, most of the other counties in New Jersey, along with the Department of Transportation. We hope to be able to continue to supply replacement parts to the county like we have done for the past 14 years. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Mr. Parlavecchio?
No questions.
Mr. McInerney?
No questions.
Freeholders? Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Moved by Vice President Richardson, second by Freeholder Mercado. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Bauer. Yes. Freeholder Johnson. Yes. Freeholder Jones. Yes. Freeholder Luciano. Yes. Freeholder Mercado. Yes. Freeholder Pomares. Yes. Freeholder Vice President Richardson. Yes. Freeholder Sebo. Yes. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolution number 19.
Resolution 19, Department of Public Works, Division of Fleet Management, contract awards to the 3 lowest responsive and responsible bidder per item on a unit cost basis to provide specialty tires and flat tire road services for the county fleet vehicles and equipment, 1-year agreement not to exceed $75,000.
Again, Sanjeev Varghese, County Engineer. The Public Works for the county has several specialty vehicles, backhoes, front-end loaders, and Argos for mosquitoes, and they all need special tires, and sometimes we get stuck with flat tires in the marshland, and we need somebody who has the specialty tires to come and fix the flat tires. And this is a not-to-exceed contract for $75,000. We usually spend around maximum $25,000 a year. But in case we need it, that's why it's not to exceed $75,000. This is a good contract because we don't have these tires in stock, and only these people have those tires in stock.
Mr. Parlavecchio?
No questions.
Mr. McInerney?
These are 3 different companies on
Yes.
75,000,
Yes,
and each one of them has provided you with a bid on each, I guess, type of tire.
that's correct.
So you'll use the lowest one for what you need.
The lowest, each one is a different tire. So for a backhoe is one vendor, and for a front-end loader is a different vendor. For an Argo is a third vendor. So
How much did you spend on this contract last year?
less than 25.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, less than
25,000, less than 25,000.
less than 25,000. Freeholders? Freeholder Pomares?
Thank you. Can you just describe for me how you came to the number of $75,000 as the not-to-exceed limit? Is the average about $25,000?
Again, we just plan for the worst case scenario. In case I have three front-end loader tires flat at the same time, I have to replace them. It's very expensive. Each tire is like $8,000, $9,000. So we plan for the worst case scenario, and sometimes we spend less than 10 certain years, and this is just a planning.
So $75,000 represents a flat tire to everything you have, right?
Yes. And I don't expect that to happen.
Yeah, I wouldn't either, but okay. I just wanted to know how you arrived at that number. Thank you.
Freeholders? Motion? Moved by Freeholder Palmera, second by Freeholder Bauer. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Siebel. Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones. Freeholder Johnson. Freeholder Bauer. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes. So moved?
So moved.
Okay, all right. Moving to resolution number 20.
Resolution 20, 2018 County Budget, insertion of items of revenue from the state of New Jersey, Department of Community Affairs for Community Service, Block Grant, Division of Community Action, $113,290.
Mr. Jackson.
Mr. President, we already received $256,054 from the Department of Community Affairs. This is some supplemental funding through a community service block grant in the amount that the clerk just read into the record, and it will provide for impoverished low-income residents living in East Orange, Irvington, Montclair, Belleville, Orange, and Bloomfield. And services are limited, or will include but not limited to employment counseling, career training, house assistance, emergency assistance, food use services, and other forms of advocacy.
Thank you, Mr. Palavecchio.
No questions.
Mr. McInerney.
No questions.
Freeholders.
Through you, Mr. President, is this is this additional money or any of the monies for direct service provision by the county, or is it contracted out to agencies?
This is provided by the county.
Okay, thank you very much.
Freeholders. Insertion of revenue from the state. Do I have a motion? Moved by Freeholder Mercado. Second by Freeholder Palmera. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Bauer. Freeholder Johnson. Freeholder Jones. Freeholder Luciano. Freeholder Mercado. Freeholder Pomares. Freeholder Vice President Richardson. Freeholder Sebald. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Resolution 21.
Resolution 21, 2018 County Budget, insertion of items of revenue from the State of New Jersey Department of Health for Special Child and Early Intervention Health Services Division of Community Health Services, $1,825,620.
Mr. Jackson.
Mr. President, this is a grant for 7/1/18 through 6/30/19. And it is special child and early identification. What it does is it provides for the identification, evaluation, and treatment of children with special needs from birth to 3 years old. And this program allows for children, regardless of their economic status, to receive services from a single point of entry from the County of Essex for any child who requires early intervention services.
Palavecchio.
No questions.
Mr. McInerney.
No questions.
Freeholders. Questions or comments? The motion? Moved by Vice President Richardson. Second by Freeholder Mercado. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Sebald. Freeholder Vice President Richardson. Freeholder Pomares. Freeholder Mercado. Freeholder Luciano. Freeholder Jones. Freeholder Johnson. Freeholder Bauer. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolution number 22.
Resolution 22, Department of Health and Rehabilitation, Division of the Hospital Center, 2-year affiliation agreement with Montclair State University.
Mr. Jackson.
Mr. President, this is we have these agreements that come up quite frequently with the board. This is a 2-year affiliation with Montclair State, specifically related to music therapy. It's a 2-year renewable, and it provides tremendous on-site training for the students at Montclair State. Montclair State covers the insurance, and we found this to be both beneficial to the county and to Montclair State.
Excellent. Mr. Parlavecchio?
Just to confirm, Mr. Jackson, it's no cost to the county for this?
Through you, Mr. President, that's correct.
Thank you.
Mr. McInerney?
No questions.
Freeholders? Questions or comments? Do we have a motion? Moved by Freeholder Luciano, second by Freeholder Jones. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Bauer. Freeholder Johnson. Freeholder Jones. Freeholder Luciano. Freeholder Mercado. Freeholder Pomares. Freeholder Vice President Richardson. Freeholder Sebald. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolution number 23.
Resolution 23, Department of Health and Rehabilitation, Division of the Hospital Center, 2-year affiliation agreement with Caldwell University.
Mr. Jackson?
Mr. President, similar to number 22 above, this is an affiliation with Caldwell University. This one deals with specifically for nursing students. Again, it's a great opportunity for us as well as for the school, and it's no cost to the county, and again, the school covers the cost of insurance.
Excellent. Mr. Parlavecchio?
No questions.
Mr. McInerney?
No questions.
Freeholders? Have a mover? Moved by Freeholder Jones, second by Freeholder Pomares. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Sebald. Absent. Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Palmares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones. Freeholder Johnson. Freeholder Bauer. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, moving to resolution number 24.
Resolution 24, Department of Health and Rehabilitation, Division of the Hospital Center, contract award to GD Correctional Services to provide food services concession at the Essex County Hospital Center June 1st, 2018 through May 31st, 2021, amount not to exceed $5,787,615.
Mr. Jackson?
Mr. President, this is a publicly advertised, fair, and open competitive contract. It's a 3-year agreement with a 2-year option, and Mr. Kevin Kelly from CDM is here to answer your questions.
Mr. Kelly?
Yeah, I'm Kevin Kelly from Essex County Hospital, Food Service Director, going into GD Corrections.
Want to expand a little bit?
I've actually been at the hospital center for 20-something years with gourmet dining. We just put it out, and when it went out to bid, we changed over to GD Corrections. Although it says GD Corrections, we're still running it as healthcare. I'm a certified dietary manager, certified food protection professional, so the services will not change. The on-site management will not change, and neither will the staff.
Okay. Freeholders?
Are you a union outfit?
We are IBW 1158.
Thank you.
Freeholders? Do I have a motion? Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me. Vice President Richard, Mr. McInerney.
I just want, is this based on a population of 180 patients?
It's based on the population of 180, but we bill per patient day. So if there's only 177,
Right,
we
180
bill.
times 360.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Additional questions? No problem. Additional questions? Moved by Vice President Richardson. Do I have a second? Second by Freeholder Bauer. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Bauer. Freeholder Johnson. Freeholder Jones. Freeholder Luciano. Freeholder Mercado. Freeholder Pomares. Freeholder Vice President Richardson. Freeholder Sebald. Freeholder President Gill.
Present, not voting.
So moved.
Clerk. Moving to resolution number 25.
Resolution 25, Department of Administration and Finance, Office of Purchasing, approval of a qualified list of vendors for a one-year period from the date of award to provide for forensic auditing services if required on an as-need basis to the County of Essex.
Mr. Jackson.
Mr. President, Julius Coltree, Deputy County Administrator, Purchasing Agent. We went for a fair and open RFQ for telephone utilities, regular utilities, and medical billing. This in the event we need an audit, a forensic audit, and we believe we would come back then to the board to award a contract.
Okay. Mr. Parlavecchio.
No questions.
Mr. McInerney.
I noticed that Marsh and Minnick both has their CFE, which is a Certified Fraud Examiner, which is, apropos for this type of engagement, and that the rate is $99 an hour, which is also very...
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Okay. Freeholders. Vice President Richardson.
Mr. McInerney, could you repeat that?
The two individuals in one of these contracts for forensic engagements have what's called a CFE, which is an examination that has to be taken. It's a Certified Fraud Examiner. It's an examination that you have to take, and you have to serve an internship in order to get that license. And that license is very valuable. That experience that comes with that license is very valuable in doing these types of forensic audits. So both parties to this contract, that one contract, have that designation. The other comment that I made is within the documentation indicates their rate of pay is $99 an hour, which is extremely competitive. By that I mean extremely low. So they have the credentials, and they're giving the county a very reasonable price.
Thank you.
Additional questions or comments? Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Moved by Vice President Richardson. Second by Freeholder Bauer. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Sebald. Yes. Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones. Yes. Freeholder Johnson. Yes. Freeholder Bauer. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes. Freeholder Sebald.
So moved.
So moved. Thank you. Freeholder Sebald.
For number 23, please list my vote in the affirmative. Thank you.
Okay. Noted, Madam Clerk.
Yes, Mr. President.
Okay. Moving to resolutions 26 through 40, with the exception of number 35. Which are all commendations. Freeholders, do you have any questions or comments? No, so we'll read them into the record at a later time, Madam Clerk. 26 through 40, with the exception of 45. Do I have a motion?
30.
Moved by Freeholder Pomares. Do I have a second? Second by Freeholder Johnson. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Bauer. Yes. Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones. Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Sebald. Yes. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you. Moving to resolution number 35. Madam Clerk, could you please read it into the record?
Resolution 35, resolution proclaiming May 2018 as National Bike to Work Month in Essex County, sponsored by Freeholder Bauer.
Freeholder Bauer.
Thank you, Mr. President. I brought this up approximately a month ago, and even though it took a while to work out the language, so May is close to over, now May is biking month, and I know that there's a number of us who are interested in both off-road and on-street bicycle lanes and trails, and through my own effort as well as that of my aide, Rachel Ford, we have endeavored to find out, and I'll report to the freeholders at a later date, what that portion of the census for 2000 and 2010, which is called Journey to Work, which is a very detailed examination of how people get around, and particularly the commute, how much of that was pedestrian and bicycle for Essex County, and I would like to set a goal to try to increase that share, whatever that share is. It's probably very small, but to increase it and to work with the county engineer's office to create safer avenues for bicycling, not only on your commute, but for other short destinations. It's generally considered somewhere between 1 and 5 miles is considered a very bicycleable trip. And to the extent that we can accommodate more bicycling, we'll have more, less pollution and less congestion and so on and so forth. But of course, it has to be safely accommodated. So that's really what's the purpose of this, was to draw attention to the fact of the National Bike to Work Month, and to let you all know that that's a subject that I'm working on, at least in terms of a data point, and hopefully a goal that we can adopt in a future resolution.
Excellent, Freeholder Bauer. Look forward to that follow-up, and also would use this as an opportunity to, again, one of the ways that maybe we can increase that share is to really jumpstart and bring to completion the trail, which we've talked about, which would connect essentially Newark to Jersey City, going through a few of our few of our municipalities on an old Conrail line. So it would absolutely be one way to increase that ability for people to be able to both walk and literally bicycle, to the pass station in Jersey City and hop into the city if they happen to work in New York, but also give accessibility among our municipalities. So I look forward to that report and look forward to working with you on that. Would you like to move resolution number 35?
If there are no questions, I would
Do you
love
have
to
any
move
questions?
it.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, I jumped the gun. Vice President Richardson.
No question.
Okay.
I'll move it.
Moved by Freeholder Bauer. Do we have a second? Second by Freeholder Palmaris. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson. Yes. Freeholder Jones. Yes. Freeholder Luciano. Yes. Freeholder Mercado. Yes. Freeholder Palmaris. Yes. Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Sebald. Yes. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We move to resolution number 41, which I believe is an added starter. Can you read it into the record, please?
Resolution 41, Department of Health and Rehabilitation, Division of Community Health Services, Professional Services Agreement to provide health officer sanitation services, Michael Fester, May 26, 2018 through May 25, 2019, amount not to exceed $52,500.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Mr. Jackson.
Mr. President, we've decided to go with a new vendor this year for this sanitary services. a fellow by the name of Michael Festa, and he's here to answer your question.
Yes. Hello.
Good evening.
You have a question for me, sir?
Good evening, Ms. Festa.
Pardon?
The floor is yours.
Oh, I'm very happy to be accepted to do the public health for the County of Essex. And I've been in public health for almost since 1960 with the health officer's license, the sanitarian's license prior to that, and 2 terms in the military service as well. And I have a nursing license and license of drugs, alcohol, and oversee air, light, water, infectious disease at the hospital centers and also at the prisons.
Thank you. Thank you for your service. Questions or comments? Freeholder Bauer.
I've known Mr. Festa for a very long time. In fact, Mr. Festa was the very first person that I met when I moved to South Orange. And he's a great problem solver. So
It's my
very
mother's
happy to
teaching.
see this.
My mother's teachings. I had no care.
Thank you, Freeholder Bauer. Freeholders. Mr. Parlavecchio? Mr. McInerney? Do we have a motion? Moved by Freeholder Jones, second by Freeholder Johnson. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Siebel. Yes. Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Palmares. Yes. Freeholder Mercado. Yes. Freeholder Luciano. Yes. Freeholder Jones. Yes. Freeholder Johnson. Yes. Freeholder Bauer. Yes. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
I thank you all for your kindness. God bless.
Thank you. Moving to reports of board committees. Freeholders, do we have any reports of board committees? Any legislative reports? Any written communications? Freeholders, do we have any unfinished business? New business? Okay, Madam Clerk, let's go to public comment. If there's any member of the public who would like to comment on any matter, please come to the microphone, state your name and affiliation for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak.
My name is Kathy Yates, and I'm a resident of East Orange. And I wanted to say thank you to the freeholders. I wasn't here for a meeting where you approved and encouraged TNR. I'm a cat advocate in my town and have done a lot of work in rescue and placement of cats. And I can't thank you enough for encouraging this. And if there's any way you can help our town or help the towns in the county to continue this effort, because approval is wonderful, but we have to start to do something. And East Orange has stepped up and they're interested, but we need funds and we need ways to encourage the general public to join in the effort. So thank you, and I look forward to continuing the discussion on this.
On any matter, please come to the microphone and state your name and affiliation for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak.
Hi, how are you? My name is Yasmin Rivera, and I'm a resident actually of Newark, New Jersey. And the amount of money that I spend personally in East Orange on taking these cats off the street and fixing them is thousands and thousands of dollars. It's never ending. When people don't want their cats anymore, they just throw them out. I can't even do my hair. I mean, the last thing I want to do is come home from a double shift at work and go outside and like feed cats, but I feel so bad for them. They keep having babies and we really, really need help. I feel like all the people that are in rescue that are paying out of their own pockets to fix these cats, it would cost more money if these cats ended up in your shelters and you guys have to fix them or even euthanize them. There's a cost for all of this stuff. And it would really, really help if we had a program, because a lot of people might stop throwing their cats out if there was a low cost, price where they can pay a decent amount of money versus going to a vet and paying $400. That's what they hear, and they just throw their cats on the street, and it's never going to end, and the problem is just going to get worse and worse if we don't get a TNR program. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you. Is there any member of the public who would like to comment on any matter? Please come to the microphone and state your name and address and affiliation for the record. Okay, seeing none. Freeholder comment session. Freeholder
Mr. President, to you. Earlier, we were discussing the moratorium on foreclosures, and I know my colleagues have sponsored a resolution that's in the works, and I am respectfully requesting to be a part of that sponsorship. With your permission, I am strongly in support of this moratorium. This has hit home for me. I had a family member just recently lost his house due to predatory practices by one of the banks, Wells Fargo. So this hits home for me. So thank you.
Freeholder Siebold.
Thank you. Could the resolution be by acclamation?
Vice President Richardson.
Through you, Mr. President, we've done a resolution previously. We're looking to do an ordinance. It's different. The resolution is already passed. Even the county exec did a resolution supporting the moratorium on foreclosures. Now we want to step it up and actually do an ordinance. Yes. And everyone will be invited to any of the meetings, and we look forward to all of your support, because I'm sure everyone in here knows or has someone close to them who has lost, a house or whatever to predatory lending practices. The dates will be going out, and everyone will be invited.
Thank you, Vice President Richardson, and I think that's a great point, and probably should have been mentioned early. So we have passed this resolution. So we are on the record, just like the county executive is, just like some of the other municipalities are. It's my hope that through the hearing process, that this ordinance will be looked at, reviewed, that will receive testimony both from the administration and other advocates and community members, and that something will be put before us, at some point in time for debate, that the legislative process will take its course. I know there's an absolute urgency to try to do something, but I also think it's very important that we do something through the correct process and with the correct review. So I want to compliment Vice President Richardson for kind of steering the ship right now, and I think would welcome input from the rest of the board as we move through that process. So, additional comments, freeholders. Freeholder Johnson.
Mr. President, through you, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the administration and all of my colleagues and all of my friends throughout the county that have been there with me and my family at a very difficult time. And my family thanks all of you for stepping up the way you have, and we appreciate. Thank you.
Thank you, Freeholder Johnson. Thank you. Freeholders, additional questions or comments? Again, just want to thank the City of East Orange for hosting us and having us here tonight. We look forward to being back next year for everything they did to make this meeting possible. Any additional questions or comments? Do I have a motion to adjourn? So moved.